Hello, my friends. So today, I'm going to be talking to you about what everybody and their moms have been talking about, which is Bill Nye the Science Guy. Or is it Bill Nye the Science Goy? Or is it Bill Nye the Science Lie? Whatever it is. A lot of people have been very surprised that Bill Nye went full social justice warrior retard in his last episode of his new Netflix show. But is it really that surprising? I don't think so. Especially when you consider how well connected Bill Nye really is to the elites in Washington, D.C. People say things like, oh, he's a failed actor, or he's not a real scientist, he's just an engineer, but would a failed actor become as popular as he is today? Do you think he did it on his own? I don't think so. In fact, I know he didn't, because you can look at his genealogy and see exactly how connected he is. So let's look at Bill Nye's life. First of all, Bill grew up in Washington, D.C., and he attended the Sidwell Friends School, which is an elite college preparation school that is extraordinarily selective, and it only takes the most well-connected of the connected of Washington, D.C. To name a few of their alumni, Barack Obama's daughters went there, Joe Biden's grandkids, Al Gore's kids, the director of the movie An Inconvenient Truth went there. CIA directors have gone there. People on the board of the Federal Reserve went there, even a vice chairman, and so on. So the list of alumni is basically a list of well-connected elites. So how did a humble children's show host make it there? Well, Bill Nye's mother was a code breaker working for naval intelligence during World War II. And there's reason to believe that his father was also involved in a similar line of work. And now why do I say that? Well, the sources on Bill Nye's father, named Edwin Darby Nye, all contradict each other. None of his biographies make any sense. None of them are consistent with each other. An obituary from the Washington Post says that he was a civilian construction worker working out at Wake Island in the Pacific before World War II started. While, on the other hand, Gregory Unwin, who wrote a book on the Pacific Theater, specifically Wake Island, wrote that he was a canteen clerk and that he was bookish, not an athlete. Those are his words. He was bookish, not an athlete. That he was actually afraid to take some leap boarding the ship. But when you look at Edwin's life, you find that by the time that he was going out to Wake Island, he already had a degree in political science from Johns Hopkins University. So why would someone with a degree in political science from Johns Hopkins, a very prestigious university that he must have paid a lot of money to get into, why would he go and work menial labor as a construction worker or a canteen clerk, which those aren't the same? I don't know why the sources contradict each other. Why would he go out and do that? But it gets even more weird when you find his grave, Edwin Nye's grave, Bill's father's grave. It calls him a defender of Wake Island. This guy was not in the military. And yet even Bill Nye's Wikipedia page calls him a World War II veteran. And then the biography given on IMDb for Bill Nye says that his father was a quartermaster in the military during World War II. So he was a construction worker, a canteen clerk, a defender of Wake Island, and a quartermaster. apparently. A very, very diverse range of experiences for this man. So why can't they keep their stories straight? Each story contradicts the last. And to add to my suspicions that Edwin Nye was a spook, he allegedly was kept in a POW camp in Shanghai for 4 years during the war, and then released in 1945 at the end of the war. But within the year, by December of 1945, he was already getting married to the naval intelligence agent, codebreaker, Jacqueline Jenkins, the mother of Bill Nye. He then went on to secure a job at GE, and then worked at First Financial in Washington for the rest of his life. Now, if that story doesn't smell fishy to you, then your nose is broken. And it all makes even less sense when you consider who Edwin Nye's father was. His name was Luther Bertram Nye, and he was also from Washington, D.C. He received his degree in law from George Washington University and was a master at the Federal Lodge No. 1 of the Masonic Order in Washington, D.C. Just a humble citizen, I'm sure. So is it any surprise that Bill Nye, the grandson of a federally connected master mason and the son of 2 World War II intelligence agents, would be pushing the same bullshit agenda that's being pushed by every other elite-controlled media outlet? It's not surprising to me, fellas. Not one bit. And the more you look at these celebrities, whenever you see a celebrity that rises meteorically to the forefront of media, that's being pushed in the media, like someone who just has a bachelor's degree and a career of being a failed comedian, you have to wonder who they're connected to. Because the media doesn't promote people who are not connected. As a rule, just a general rule. If you find someone who is well promoted, look at their family, look at where they were educated, look at where they've worked, and just think about it. Just take a step and think about it. Because Bill Nye is basically, he's pushing the agenda of the people who control him, the people who he's connected to. So it is no surprise to me that he is pushing the postmodern neo-Marxist bullshit in his show today. Anyways, I hope that was informative. If you do some quick Googling, all of these sources are readily available. I'm not going to include any links in the description because if you want to find these sources, you could find them yourself. But this information's out there. It's readily available. Just got to do some Google searches. Anyway, thank you for watching.